Sup, my friends? Welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. This is the Taoist Dragon of the Epic Peeps fam, but you can call me Toasty and have a nice tea. That's the stuff. So, I wasn't going to make a video about this, to be honest, and I decided that early on because I felt like, I'll just say flat out what this is, like COVID-19, you know. Um, I felt it was kind of clickbaity, and honestly, I just didn't want to deal with it. And I don't feel like that's the best phrasing because it's like, it's a big deal. You can argue how it's a big deal, and some even argue that it isn't. Sorry, that was so hasty. Probably wasn't even that noticeable, but it was to me, so. Alright. So, some people argue that it isn't, or they argue what the big deal about it is. Like, whether or not it's people's reactions and things like that. Uh, my whole thing was it really struck me as this being a big deal when what was it? They canceled, not canceled. They were going to keep us from going back to school for 2 weeks after spring break. And then I was like, okay, this is kind of a big deal, which makes me feel bad because it's like, oh, because it doesn't impact me, it's not a big deal. And I never really felt like that before, but definitely that's something that came across my mind with this whole thing. It's like I realized how big of a deal it was when it impacted me directly. But I have just been so desensitized. That's ultimately why I didn't want to make a video about this because there's a few of them on my channel. I had one about when Kappa changed, and one more I can't even remember now. And that was just sort of the thing. Like at the time, they seemed so big and so huge. Especially like Kappa got me worried. I even like pulled back from the YouTube scene, not just because of that, but that was a big reason why. But at least it was what I internalized the reason to be. I don't know. To be honest, it was kind of more of not an excuse, but yeah, something along those lines. Of I don't know. It's just hard to make a video, so I fell out of the habit. Is really what happened. And when I fall out of the habit for something, there it goes. I am naturally, uh, I naturally hop between things. It's why there's a lot of unfinished games on the channel, and I feel bad about that. And some of them I want to finish, like Outer Worlds, and some of them I never will. But this is getting off topic. The main important piece to that was because I had freaked out so much. That was like the first thing on my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to act like that this time. And so I didn't, and I'm still not. Um, and the thing with COVID is like, I don't know what to think about it. And it gets to me, and not because I'm like fed up with it, but that's the best way, that's the best phrase I have with it, is like, it's just there. Every time I like wake up in the morning, there's another thing about COVID. And I get it because it's scary. It's a disease going around. It's killing people. And yeah, it's a terrifying time to be alive. And the other component is just the human reaction to it. People are really freaking out, like buying all the tissue paper, not tissue paper, toilet paper from grocery stores and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to keep an even mind. Even mind? Whatever. Just like stay even keel. And yeah, I actually got sick though. And I made a video a while back because I started to have some chest symptoms, like pain in the chest and stuff like that. And it got worse over time. So I put myself into quarantine. I locked myself up in my room for 2 weeks. And unfortunately, I did like leave every so often for stuff. I don't want to get into it. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I was just in my room and it sucked. It was terrible. But that's what people are going through right now. Anyways, I canned that video because about like midway through that experience, I was like, you know what? I'm feeling better, so I've made it through, and I made a video about that. And then I literally got symptoms, and they were worse than they were the worst symptoms at the time. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to. It's really important to me, in case it's not obvious, I like how to phrase things and making sure my wording's super clear. I kind of want to work on that because it goes back to when I was in elementary school and a traumatic incident where I got in a fight with my friend and he ended up crying and the whole class turned on me. And since then, uh, wording has become super important to me because I felt like the issue was that I didn't say what I wanted to clearly enough, but there was a misunderstanding and that made him cry. Since then, I know there's other stuff going on. It wasn't just that, but it's really hard to break that mindset of just kind of like the paranoia. If it's not like super clear, then things might go to crap. But I should work on that. I really should. And now I lost my train of thought. God, that's always happens in a vlog, by the way. You go on tangents. But I want to keep it in this time because I want like the unedited, just pure thought process. Yeah, so I canned that video because I got sick again. Thankfully, it only lasted a few more days, like the symptoms. But I had to like remain in quarantine for the rest of the time. So I was like quarantining for a week, but I wanted to be really sure at that time that they didn't come back and that I was actually feeling better. And yeah, so ultimately I've decided to make this video because I want to check up on you guys. It's really crazy. I don't know how you feel about this virus and the other things around it. It's very controversial. There's a lot of stuff going on. And in a way, my process of dealing with things like this really tough issues is to avoid them. And on some level, I think it can be healthy. It's not healthy to avoid them, but it is healthy to sometimes just step away because you can only freak out so much about something. But that said, the more serious stuff, you take more seriously, yada yada yada. But uh, yeah, that's sometimes it's good just to take a step back from things because you'll kill yourself with stress and you can't do anything. That stress doesn't change anything. You're just worrying about it. So that's kind of been my process, but it's not the best, and it's also very alienating because people, they'll have an issue and they'll think about it and they'll sit with it. But I just got to the point where it was hard for me to talk about stuff like that, and I want to work on it. I actually saw one of my videos the other day of like one of the first ones I did on the channel, and just talking about how it was a big deal. Like my whole philosophy for this channel was to just be out there, to be expressive, to be different and weird, to encourage you guys to be able to express yourselves. But I'll be honest, it's also for me to be able to express myself. I have really repressed myself throughout my entire existence because I didn't want to be a burden. And yeah, it's still hard not to fall back on that. And I feel like some ways I have. And I want to go back to the whole reason why I started this channel, taking risks, going out there, and hopefully being able to help you guys through whatever you're going through. Um, just, yeah. So, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I've said a lot. I kind of rambled and I went off on tangents. And I'm just going to keep that all in, like I said already, because, yeah, I just want this to be pure. And I really hope you guys are, you know, dealing with this as well as possible. I hope things are, uh, going. I hope things are going well for you. I want to check in. Excuse me. I went for a run, so my lungs are kind of yeah, because like I ran up a hill, so they're burning a little bit. I mean, it's not too bad. Uh, but yeah, I just tell me how you guys are doing. I want to check in on you, and I hope you're. Yeah, I already said that. Now I'm literally repeating myself, so I'm just going to call this here. Um, thank you so much for like listening to this little rant, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon.